This is longtime gamer Venry Fairden introducing Uncle Troy's Minecraft videos.
Hello there, this is Uncle Troy. Today we are playing a little Minecraft, and I am preparing my steak. So it goes from raw beef to steak. Not sure that's exactly proper, but I'm preparing my steak and am going to go back down into the caves. I had kind of thought that I was going down into a new set of caves, but then it occurred to me that I'm close enough to the old caves that this is probably just a continuation. Alright, plenty of wood, plenty of food, a few odd things like melon seeds that I want to try out at some point, but not now. Let's get out of our little hidey hole here. Let's see, how am I for coal? Pretty good for coal, but let's go ahead and make a few extra torches here while we're at it. Alrighty, now I need about 8 more pieces of coal to top off, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, I'm going to you can see here where a creeper scared us earlier. Alright, whoa! I guess we're going down this way. Alrighty, I received a request recently to tell more stories, basically. Tell about myself and my family and my line of work. So we are going to start doing that this episode. And hopefully I won't be too boring and it won't detract too much from the gameplay. Just let me know if it does. And we were just here earlier because, yeah, we went up that way in the previous episode. This goes over this way. That goes down. This goes up. So it looks like this is the... Hello. Where'd that come from? Hello, Mr. Skeleton. Anything else down here? There's that zombie I just heard. Okay. See, and then sometimes instead of a dying gasp, you get that growl. That means, or that could mean that there's another zombie around. Actually, that looks awful familiar, doesn't it? That looks, yeah, we have been here before. Alright, we are not going to get anywhere new around here. So, let's just make our way back to the surface and continue on along the surface. Assuming it's not dark yet. Where's the sun? Looks like sun's going down. So, back into the cave. Let's find a relatively secure location. And well, that's interesting. I really should be running for the hills right now. But this is just so entertaining. Hello there, Mr. Okay. Trying to find a quiet place where we can sleep. And apparently that's not going to be here. And the sun's going down. But let's try sleeping anyway. Where's my bed? Where's my bed? I don't have my bed. What did I do with my bed? Did I leave my bed out here somewhere? Over there somewhere where I came out of the cave, perhaps? Let me look again, make sure. No bed. Nope. Okay. So, if I want a bed, I have to go back here and find it. or kill 3 sheep. Here I thought I had everything all worked out. Alright, here's where I came out, and I'd placed the bed there, and then when I woke up I was stuck there. So okay, I need 3 sheep real quick. Do I have any volunteers? Volunteer 1. Volunteer 2. And let's see, volunteer 3. Who is apparently... There we go. And let's see. Oh, hello, Mr. Creeper. Okay, let's try this again. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down here a bit and make us a little bedroom. Alrighty, let's see, workbench. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1 bed. And sleep. And sleep. Not a very good start for this episode, I'm afraid. Alright, make sure we pick up the workbench, make sure we pick up the bed. Well, make sure we pick up the bed, then make sure we pick up the workbench. What do I want to get rid of? Let's see. Alrighty, I need 3 coal to max out. Alrighty, now, in theory, we can go up and get back to what we were doing, which was, where's my compass? Basically picking a direction, hello Mr. Cow, picking a direction away from spawn and going until we find something interesting, say a village or a fresh cave system that's not the same one we've just been through for the past few episodes. Alrighty, as I was saying, received a request to tell stories, tell about myself, my family, my work, and so I'm going to try doing that. Hold on a second. I love the music, but that was just getting just a little too loud. Alrighty, here's a story from several years ago. It involves me and my nephew. I've got 2 flesh and blood nephews, and then of course dozens of honorary nephews and nieces, neighbors' kids, co-workers' kids, etc. What did I just say? That I was going to go till I found a village or something? Alrighty, I'm going to go until I win $1 million, just to see if that happens. Alrighty, hey there pig, quit trampling this wheat. Okay, let's check out the village here real quick. I think in 1.81 we do not have any villagers. No, we do not. Alright, so this story about my nephew, I'm going to spoil the ending. The ending is Uncle Troy scares people. Okay, that's the ending. Alright, the middle of the story is that I went with my nephew to some kind of school or church function. I don't remember which. I just know that his parents couldn't take him that day, and you know, what are uncles for if not to help out? So I went with my nephew to this function, and there were a bunch of different parents or guardians and a whole bunch of kids, and I forget how old my nephew was, but this was This was elementary school, grammar school. So he was pretty young. And the various kids and parents were talking to each other, you know, getting to know each other. And, to find out that, so-and-so's mommy is a doctor, so-and-so's daddy's a lawyer. And so somebody pointed over to me and asked my nephew, what's your daddy do? And he says, well, that's not my daddy, that's my Uncle Troy. And he says, okay, what does your uncle do? So he looks up at him and says, my uncle scares people. And so I had to come over and try to explain that. And the explanation for that is, which takes us back to the beginning of the story. See, I'm telling this in the wrong order. Is that my nephews had a hard time figuring out exactly what I did for a living. See, I worked at a hospital, so they thought I was a doctor or a nurse, which I wasn't. And, if I had a permanent base, I would be grabbing these vines here to add to it. But since I'm not doing a permanent base, I'll just continue on. Anyway, I worked at a hospital, but I wasn't a doctor or a nurse. So eventually they figured out, well, he wears a uniform every day, so he must be police or he must be in the Army or something. So I eventually had to explain to them that, I wasn't a police officer, I was a security officer. My actual job title is something like unarmed security specialist. And they didn't quite understand what a security officer did because, in the movies, a security guard just sits behind a desk or goes around and rattles doorknobs or hassles people in the mall. So I had to explain that in healthcare security, security is a lot more customer service than it is anything else. You have to, help the good people while keeping the bad people out without offending anybody. You have to be nice to everybody. And you don't carry a gun, you don't carry a pepper spray or handcuffs. You handle everything mostly by talking, using de-escalation techniques, verbal judo, things like that, to basically talk people into, believing that everything's going to be okay and there's no need to be upset. I sometimes joke that mine is the job where you get called when everybody's upset and you don't get to leave until everybody's happy again. Now, of course, try explaining that to like an 8-year-old. So basically, it boiled down to, Uncle Troy shows up in his uniform. He talks to people. He, gets them to calm down, gets everything taken care of, and then he goes on. And, well, Uncle Troy, don't you ever beat people up? And I said, well, no, I never beat people up. Sometimes you do have to get physical, but that's always a last resort. You don't, actually get into fights unless you have to. Absolutely, positively have to. So, okay, so I thought he had it, had a grasp on the situation. And he knew, what Uncle Troy did. So, as I said, we went to that function. Can't remember if it was church or school or whatever. And they were asking everybody, what does your parents do? And finally asked him, and I wasn't nearby at the time. I was over in the corner with some of the younger kids playing with building blocks, because until Minecraft came along, there was no way for an adult male to play with building blocks, in an appropriate setting. And, what does your daddy do? Oh, that's not my daddy, that's my uncle. Well, what does your uncle do? My uncle scares people. So I got up and started moving over toward, them just to see if we could straighten this out before it got too bad. And says, but whoever he was talking to said, well, young man, surely you don't mean, your uncle scares people. And he looks right at him and he says really slow, Uncle Troy scares people. That's his job. Then he waits for a second and he thinks, but he doesn't hurt him unless he really, really has to. So by the time I got back over to my nephew, we were in the center of about a 10-foot wide empty area with no one else, just me and him. And everybody's just slowly backing away. So then I had to explain, what a healthcare security officer does and how we don't have weapons. We talk and we, try to peacefully resolve situations, but we do occasionally use force when we have to. And I think I eventually got everybody understanding exactly what I did for a living. But come to think of it, whatever type of function that was, I don't think I ever got invited to another one.